Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football, with my Week 4 college football predictions. And what a week we had in Week 3. 16-6 against the spread. That brings us up to 34-24 against the spread this season. 34-24, 16-6 last week. I would love to duplicate that each and every week. That's basically impossible at 73%. We hit on 58% last year. We would like to do 60% against the spread. All right, we were also 19-4 straight up last week, and that also includes a 60-12 money line straight up throughout the season. I added up the first 2 weeks, and I relayed this information during some of the live streams, that in 38 picks in the first 2 weeks, 10 of those games, the underdog, the flat-out underdog, won straight up. Last week, did we have any underdogs win straight up? I'm sure we did. Duke, as we mentioned, would happen. +3, they won straight up in that game. San Diego State, +6 against Arizona State, won straight up, and we also predicted that straight up victory for the underdog. Anything else here? I don't believe we had any other upsets on the day straight up. Texas Tech, a minor upset, 1.5 points over Houston, also predicted that. So there's 3 upsets straight up against the money line, and we predicted all 3 last week. All right, that was pretty much it. Oh, the big one, obviously, LSU, 10.5 point underdog at Auburn, won it straight up, and BYU, the huge underdog of the day, 22.5. They won straight up against Wisconsin. Syracuse, the 3-point underdog, we picked that one to win straight up as well. So it looked like another 5 or 6 games. So there are typically 5 or 6 games per week where the underdog wins the game outright. 26 predictions this week. Here we go. And before we knock down the predictions, would like to encourage you to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. That keeps it going. That keeps us going. That keeps us encouraged and motivated and ready to go. Please shop using the Amazon links below in the description section. You don't have to buy the products, but shop on Amazon and just go enter the site of Amazon using those links. Like, comment, subscribe, and join the newsletter as well as we release the best information in college football. The voice of college football, the newsletter comes out each and every Monday. Just leave your email at Gmail. Okay, shut up, Mark. Get to the predictions. I hear you. Friday night, we've got 3 nice little matchups. We've got Central Florida taking on FAU. Central Florida at home. They win outright. They also cover 13 points. Illinois hosting Penn State. The Illini hung in last week against South Florida. Penn State, a different animal. Nittany Lions. Yeah. And Illinois is going to lose this football game. So Penn State wins the game. But 27.5, I can feel the Friday night at home for Illinois. They hang in a little bit longer. Maybe they get a backdoor cover, whatever it is. Take Illinois plus the 27.5. Washington State at USC. The Trojans lost in Pullman this year. They've looked awful for 2 consecutive weeks. Can Clay Helton coach? Well, if he can coach, then he's got to be able to get his team up for this game. USC wins, and they cover 4.5 points. Let's move to Saturday in the big noon games. Georgia at Mizzou against Drew Lock. Of course, the Tigers can put up points, but they're facing the best defense they will face all season. They also go to Tuscaloosa a little bit later, so one of the 2 best. Georgia wins, and they cover the 14 points. Notre Dame at Wake Forest. This was the last game that I selected. This was the game that I held on to the longest to try to determine, yes, I believe Notre Dame is the better team and going to win on the road. I think people are awfully down on Notre Dame after the Ball State effort and almost losing to Vandy. I get it. They can't throw the ball. Notre Dame covers late in this one. Notre Dame at Wake Forest. Irish win, and they cover the 7. But again, not a whole lot of confidence here. This was the last game I pulled the trigger on. Nebraska at Michigan. The Wolverines completely outclassed Nebraska, but it's 18 points. Scott Frost rallies the troops. They play a decent game. Michigan wins easily by a couple scores. Take the Huskers plus the 18 points. Boston College at Purdue. The Boilers 0-3, but they keep losing in the last couple plays of the game. So Boston College goes there. They unleash that big-time offense that they unveiled against Wake Forest. I understand this is not the typical BC offense, but still, Purdue's at home, and so we take the Boilermakers plus the 7 points. Boston College wins the game. Alabama wins the game against Texas A&M, and the point spread is still not large enough. Bama covers at home against Texas A&M, so take the Tide minus the 26. Clemson on the road against Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech has not been playing good football. They've lost to Pitt in South Florida the last 2 weeks. They take a step up in class against Clemson. Clemson covers 15.5 points at Georgia Tech. Tulane, Ohio State. Yes, the Buckeyes will blow them out. This will be a workmanlike, business-like effort by Ohio State. Take Tulane plus the 37 points in Columbus. Kansas State at West Virginia. Yes, we love the passing offense of Will Grier, the best quarterback in the conference. Yes, West Virginia is at home. Kansas State, as I understand it, based on a lot of numbers that have been thrown at me down through the years, the best underdog in college football. They beat the points more than anyone consistently, and they also pull out some of these games. Yes, West Virginia wins at home against K-State, but give me that 16.5 points with Kansas State. Virginia Tech at Old Dominion. This one would seem like a give me. These teams come in completely different hemispheres. Of course, Virginia Tech's big win against Florida State, not necessarily as impressive as it was in week 1. Still, give me the Hokies, lay the 27 against ODU. FIU at Miami. I'll take the 26.5 with Florida International. Canes win the game. South Carolina at Vandy. Neither team in the top 25, so I've added a lot of games here. I always pick the top 25 and then some other games of interest and relevance. Take South Carolina. I know everybody's high on Vandy. They went to Notre Dame last week. They should have won the game. They came within 5. They were down to the 10-yard line. They have a letdown this week. At home, South Carolina missed a game. They've got time to prepare. Take Will Muschamp and the boys, minus 2.5 at Vandy. TCU-Texas, check out my preview on this game. There are reasons I like TCU despite crashing down to earth in the fourth quarter against the Buckeyes. And even with Texas looking as good as they did at home in the second half against USC and then coming back, both teams off an emotional game, going to have to get back up for another big opponent. But Texas is going to have the home crowd to help give them a lift. But I like Gary Patterson in this spot. So TCU wins the game. I picked him 27-24 in my prediction video. And the line, of course, is 3 points. So I'm on the border there. So we'll break the tie by saying, okay, give me Texas plus the 3 points at home. But I picked TCU 27-24. Do whatever with it you will with that prediction. I said TCU 27-24. I'm going to stay with that. McNeese and BYU, no line on this game. Cougars win. Army at Oklahoma. Sooners just keep scoring and scoring and scoring. Army, though a tricky opponent, as we all know. Take Oklahoma to cover 31 points. As you know, I've said it a zillion times on these prediction videos. Forget the blowout games. Stay away. I don't know. At least don't take advice from me. I don't know who's going to be on the field in the fourth quarter, how hard they're going to be trying, and how the coaches are going to call the game. Are they going to pull off the throttle and run on cruise control and give up a couple late touchdowns for the backdoor cover, or are they going to lay down the hammer and win 50-7? I don't know. Take Oklahoma minus 31. That's my official pick. Ditto, Louisiana Tech at LSU. The Tigers don't have a great offense. We know that. But enough here with turnovers and defensive prowess to limit Louisiana Tech. Take the Bayou Bengals minus 20.5. Mississippi State at Kentucky. Both teams undefeated in non-conference play. Kentucky already with a big win against Florida on the road. So Mississippi State in a similar situation just completely blew out Kentucky at home. This one in the Commonwealth, Kentucky rested up with a decent game against Murray State last week. So did Mississippi State with a nobody opponent at home. But I like a Kentucky with a 9.5 points. I do believe that Mississippi State's a significantly better team. They're a top 15 team. Kentucky is not, but it's in Kentucky. So Bulldogs win. Take the Cats plus the 9.5 points. I wrestled with this one. Texas Tech at Oklahoma State. Certainly the Cowboys win this game, although they're coming off a difficult one against Boise State in which they played extremely well. But 14 points. The line has risen from 11 to 14 throughout the week. I would have loved the 11. Still, I got to go with Oklahoma State and a much better defense, minus 14 against Texas Tech. Florida at Tennessee, both teams outside the top 25, but we have to pick this one. don't we? It means something, at least to Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football, because it's a big-time rivalry. Florida at Tennessee. I have thought Florida the entire offseason is a much better team than Tennessee. Florida lost at home to Kentucky and Tennessee. No, they're not great. They only scored 24 points against the UTEP team that is one of the very worst. But the home crowd in this situation, I like Tennessee to gut out a win. So Vols win the game. So certainly give me 4.5 points as well. Arkansas at Auburn. All right, it's a 30-point spread. So what this is telling me, with the line opening at 24 at the beginning of the week and now ballooning to 30, is that people are like, Arkansas is atrocious. They just lost to North Texas at home by 27 points. They're certainly going to get just obliterated by Auburn.